In a collaboration between the Cleveland Museum of Natural History and the Kent State University Museum, students from the Kent State School of Fashion gained rare access to feather-focused collections, then transformed what they learned into avian-inspired designs, without using a single real feather.
This collaboration really began as the seeds of an idea and grew into a pretty extraordinary exhibition collaboration at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, and has also expanded into a partnership with the School of Fashion and our students.
If it was like earlier in the spring that people from Kent State, the museum, came up to visit us, and they really wanted to find a venue for an exhibit that they had done previously on birds and fashion and sustainability, and they wanted to find a way of interweaving that with our collection and our museum.
We did an exhibition called For the Birds, which focused on birds throughout the Kent State University Museum collection. So it was all sorts of decorative arts, fashions, and other objects that involved birds. As it has sort of been reimagined, the exhibition now focuses on feathers and all of the pieces from the original exhibition that have actual feathers on them.
We're a university museum, and so we're constantly thinking about how we engage our students and how the museum can truly be a platform for learning and creativity with the broader world around us. And so this was an extraordinary opportunity for the museum to really pull in our extraordinary students at the School of Fashion and to really ask them to think about how the natural world might in turn inspire their designs in an entirely new way.
Thinking about, with it being on Earth Day and conservation purposes, I was like, how can we show birds in a modern way and show the future of how students can be inspired by birds? And it landed on biomimicry. So biomimicry being that, it's not actually taking parts of the birds and utilizing them, but rather it's mimicking those parts of the birds and creating fashion with those concepts and ideas.
Well, that was one of the challenges that the students were presented with, was that this is a biomimicry project and it's inspired from birds. But they were not allowed to use any feathers.
It's definitely challenging since we are not allowed to use actual feathers, but I love playing around with fabric manipulation. And also we went to the textile lab today, and they have a lot of options like laser cutting and 3D printing, so I might do samples with that too. And I really want to play around with silhouette and just volume. That's what I really like to do on my designs.
And so we were able to suggest, here are items from our collection that we could sort of supplement with. So for example, they have dresses that incorporate ostrich feathers that they wanted to display. Well, we have real ostriches, so taxidermy birds, for example, that we will be able to display alongside their pieces so that we can show this is what these objects look like actually in nature. This is where these bird feathers come from.
More than 100 Kent State fashion students spent the semester bringing this project to life, researching feathers at the Kent State Museum and the Cleveland Museum of Natural History, then designing their pieces from the ground up. At the end of the semester, they presented their final designs to a panel of judges. 10 looks were selected to be displayed at the Cleveland Museum of Natural History.
I chose the rooster because I don't think it's the first species of bird that people think of when they're thinking of fashion or glamour, but I wanted to show it in a different light. On the outside, it's completely 100% silk taffeta in different colors. I've hand pleated the layers here and painted the prints that you see here and here. The bottom of the skirt also has its own foundation built into the dress as well. It's a hoop skirt with a crinoline, and there's a lining in there as well to make it as comfortable as possible for her to walk in. The feathers are organza, and I've stitched Ridgeland boning to them and shaped them with my hand, and then I actually burnt the edges to finish them so that there's no visible stitching, and they would be a little less uniform to really mimic the tail feather of the rooster, which can be very erratic.
So my bird was the wood duck, and the reason I chose the wood duck was mainly because of how many interesting shapes they have in their patterns, and also I decided to do a sculptural garment because of that, like the back of it. It's supposed to be the shape of their crested head, so that's why I did the back like this. Their feathers are really iridescent, so that's why I did that on the jacket. And also they're all laser cut, and they have 3 different sizes because their wings have 3 different sizes of feathers. And then they nest on trees, so that's why I made the wood fence. So like those are all sewn on cords on the fence.
I chose the ruffed grouse, and as I was looking for the bird through all of the birds, I just came across it, and I saw this huge plumage around its neck, and I was like, wouldn't that be just so cool to try and work with? So that's how we got all of this, to try and mimic the plumage. What inspired me was all of the Victorian collars and how they stand out, and I just wanted something to kind of stand out around the neck to kind of represent that plumage. And since I was doing a lot of other like little pleating elements just to try and get some texture, the beading represents the feathers that are all across the bird. It's usually brown, and then at the very center of the feather it has these white spots in it, and so a way to just add a little bit more texture and then just another design element into it was to do beading on top of it.
They were incredible. I don't really know what to expect, but they were just really amazing to see what they've been able to pull together. The creativity, the amount of detail that they brought in, like they've really done their homework on what these birds are, their environments, their certain social behaviors, their food ways, all kinds of things that they've been able to incorporate into their designs.
I'm so proud of the work that we've seen and then that we will continue to see out of our students when they are met with those challenges. This is a project that exemplifies the challenge and the inspiration that students find when they're presented with these prompts. And our faculty did a great job nurturing our students and the creativity for this project.